Somewhere in England this week, there is a tee time with nobody standing on it. The name that belongs there has been replaced for the third time this season. The man who built this entire golf league, who recruited its stars and absorbed its criticism and put his own reputation behind it, is not in the field, is not in the country, and has not explained himself in 5 months beyond a single sentence about a family health matter. Then, 3 days ago, a photograph was taken outside a grocery store in San Diego that made the golf world go quiet. Everything ahead involving misconduct is an allegation. Phil Mickelson has denied some of the claims and retained a defamation attorney, and nothing has officially linked any of it to his absence. Phil Mickelson is listed as withdrawn on the tournament leaderboard at JCB Golf and Country Club for LIV Golf United Kingdom. HyFlyers Golf Club has again handed the spot to wildcard Scott Vincent. Reporting this week describes it as the third occasion Scott Vincent has filled that place. Though earlier events in the season were covered by other substitutes, so the exact count depends on how you measure it. The total for the year is 1 tournament. Phil Mickelson played LIV Golf South Africa in mid-March and finished tied for 48th. Every other start on his 2026 calendar, from Riyadh to Adelaide to this week in England, has gone to somebody else. The explanation has never changed. What has changed is how much weight it is being asked to carry. On February the 1st, Phil Mickelson announced on his social media channels that he would miss the opening 2 events of the season, Riyadh from February the 4th to the 7th, and Adelaide the following week. His statement read, "I will not be able to participate in the first 2 live events as Amy and I need to be present for a family health matter. I can't wait to compete again and look forward to rejoining my teammates as soon as possible." He added that reserve Ollie Schneiderjans would take his place in Saudi Arabia and that he would root on HyFlyers GC from afar. The HyFlyers Golf Club roster that week consisted of new signing Michael Lasasso, plus the retained pair of Brendan Steele and Cameron Tringale alongside the stand-in. At that point, the framing was temporary. Phil Mickelson publicly floated LIV Golf Hong Kong in March as a return date. That course had produced his best individual result in the league, a 3rd-place finish in 2025. The return never happened. Wade Ormsby filled the spot in Adelaide on February the 15th, finishing tied for 37th at 6 under par, then again in Hong Kong finishing tied for 41st at 8 under par. When the league moved on to Singapore, the golf page Tee Times posted, Wade Ormsby is listed as the 4th member of HyFlyers GC in Singapore. Looks like he will fill in for Captain Phil Mickelson again this week, wishing Phil the best with his family matter. In April, the language escalated. Confirming he would not play the Masters tournament, Phil Mickelson said, "Unfortunately, I will not play in the Masters tournament next week and will be out for an extended period of time as my family continues to navigate a personal health matter." He continued, "I have great respect for Augusta National Golf Club, and it is definitely the most special week of the year. I wish everyone the best of luck and will be watching." In May, his name appeared in the Professional Golfers Association of America field for the championship at Arnhem, then vanished within hours. The organization confirmed the withdrawal and Max Homa received the spot. Speaking to the outlet Flushing It, Phil Mickelson said, "I wish I could. I can't, unfortunately. I'm hoping to play the rest of the year after that, but I honestly don't know." In June, golf writer Alan Shipnuck reported that the health matter involved one of the Mickelson children rather than Phil Mickelson or Amy Mickelson. No diagnosis has been made public, and there will be no speculation about it here. This is the first year of his career that Phil Mickelson has missed all 4 major championships. The Masters tournament was a withdrawal. The Professional Golfers Association Championship was an entry followed by a withdrawal. The United States Open worked differently. And this is the detail most coverage handles incorrectly, as 5-year exemption earned by winning the 2021 championship at Kiowa Island had expired. The United States Golf Association did not extend him a special invitation for the championship's return to Shinnecock. He did not file an entry to attempt to qualify. That is the one major championship he never won, despite finishing runner-up 6 separate times. The Open Championship was different again. His exemption there keeps him eligible into his 60s. So qualification was never the obstacle. As of mid-June, his name remained on the entry list. He did not play. Eligibility, in other words, was not their problem. Something else was. While Phil Mickelson has been absent, the player occupying his roster place has performed better than he has. Scott Vincent, a wildcard, was pulled onto the HyFlyers Golf Club roster for the Mexico City event. Under league rules, a wildcard promoted to a roster is generally required to remain there for the rest of the season, in the same way Anthony Kim joined the Four Aces earlier in his league career. Scott Vincent finished 4th in Mexico City in April. He followed that with 8th place at LIV Golf Virginia, then 5th in Korea. Those are stronger results than Phil Mickelson has produced in some time. There is also a mathematical problem. Reporting in March placed Phil Mickelson roughly 12 points outside the safe zone in the individual standings, with 47th place operating as the threshold for retaining full-time status on the circuit. Continued absence pushes a player below that line. That raised a question nobody in the league has publicly answered. One supporter wrote to the league directly, "I have been asking at LivGolf_league to clarify how its new relegation rules apply to injured players, and this is a perfect example. If Phil misses over half the season due to family issues, is he subject to the same relegation criteria as a player who is in every event?" The Tee Times account replied that it was curious about the same thing and had no information. The league has not clarified it since. Scott Vincent himself has been direct about what the absence means. "I think not having Phil here is a big loss," he said, "not just for the team but for everyone. I think his presence is so important. I admire and look up to him so much." He continued, "I've gotten to play with him 1 or 2 times and by far 2 of my favorite rounds as a professional. I really hope he gets back out here soon. Of course, I want to keep playing for the team, but I want him to be here more than that." He also described how the roster adapted. "What's been really cool is you just see the players in the team right now, like the older players. Cameron and Steely step up and play that leadership role in the team." In June, the story stopped being about golf. On June the 11th, Golf Digest published an investigation by Joel Beal and Todd Leonard. Multiple sources with knowledge of the matter confirmed to the publication that Phil Mickelson is no longer a member at the Farms Golf Club outside San Diego, after a female club employee accused him of inappropriate contact with her before a round of golf earlier this spring. The publication identified and verified the employee, withheld her name to protect her privacy, and reported that she declined to participate in the story. According to those sources, Phil Mickelson approached the employee at the clubhouse and made non-consensual and inappropriate physical contact. The employee rejected the advances and reported the incident to supervisors after he returned to the course. Club officials initiated a review and investigation, located him mid-round, and confronted him with the accusation. He was told to leave the premises and departed before completing his round. The club issued a statement. "The Farms Golf Club is committed to maintaining a golf club environment that is safe, respectful, and reflects the highest standards of conduct. All members are required to adhere to our code of conduct, and any allegations of misconduct are taken seriously." The statement added that the club provided support to the staff member, conducted an independent investigation, and that the individual is no longer a member. It declined further comment. The response from the Mickelson side deserves the same airtime. A spokesperson said, "Any misunderstanding has been cleared up. Phil continues to attend to a family health matter and is uncertain when he will be able to return to professional golf." After publication, a spokesperson confirmed he had resigned the membership. Tom Clare, one of the country's leading defamation attorneys, responded on June the 7th stating he was representing the golfer and asserted the description of the incident was squarely contradicted by objective video evidence. The publication reported that there was no video, because there were no cameras in the area where the incident took place, and that a spokesperson for the club confirmed no footage exists capturing any direct interaction between the parties. When the legal team was offered the opportunity to produce contradicting footage, none was provided, and the attorney did not specify which allegations, if any, were false. On June the 10th, Tom Clare provided this statement: "There is a great deal of misinformation circulating, and while Phil's full attention is devoted to a private family health matter, he has retained defamation counsel and is determined to hold accountable any publication or individual trafficking in speculation or false rumors." Inside that clubhouse is a display honoring the athletes most associated with the club. Xander Schauffele, Charlie Hoffman, and Chris Riley are there. Michael Jordan is there, the only person on it who is not a golfer. For years, the most prominent name was Phil Mickelson. A spokesperson for the club confirmed his display is now gone. One clarification matters enormously. Golf Digest confirmed that this episode is entirely separate from the family health matter. 2 weeks later, a second story landed, and this one had a name attached. The writer was Alan Shipnuck, publishing at Scratch in late June. His history with the subject cuts in both directions. He is the writer who received the notorious quote in which Phil Mickelson described the league's backers in blunt terms, an exchange that nearly ended the venture before it launched. That means unmatched access, and it also means a subject with reason to regard him as hostile. Ashley Perez, ex-wife of former Professional Golfers Association tour player Pat Perez, who filed for divorce in November 2023, alleged that in 2015 she and her then-husband were staying at a villa Phil Mickelson had taken for the Barclays tournament at Plainfield Country Club in Edison, New Jersey. The three were drinking wine on the property's patio. She alleges that when Pat Perez excused himself to use the restroom, Phil Mickelson took out his phone and showed her an explicit photograph of himself. She alleges he then said, "I'm going to leave my bedroom door open tonight. When Pat falls asleep, I want you to come see me." She says she objected, told Pat Perez after the tournament concluded, and that Phil Mickelson apologized privately on multiple occasions afterwards. She has also said she now believes she was being groomed from their first meeting in 2014. Pat Perez had previously addressed the matter on a podcast, saying, "Phil crossed the line with me that is just uncrossable and unforgivable. He knows that he screwed up. He apologized for the action, but I cannot forgive him for it." The report also alleged that Phil Mickelson had been pushed out of 2 additional golf clubs in the San Diego area. His representatives rejected the reporting. A spokeswoman said, "Recovery is not a straight line." She continued throughout their 35-year relationship. His wife, Amy Mickelson, has supported Mr. Mickelson and their family with extraordinary grace, unwavering love, and the belief that people are measured not only by their failures, but by what they do to make them right. The same statement addressed the claims directly. Some of the allegations circulating about Mr. Mickelson are false, and others revisit mistakes he has already acknowledged, publicly or privately. Stacking the disputed claims next to the ones he has owned does not make them credible. It instead contributes to a false and misleading narrative. It added, "No person, no article, and no book can present an accurate, complete, or personal story of the life Mr. Mickelson and his family have lived." Tom Clare called the reporting reckless, saying a small segment of the golf media has decided that because Mr. Mickelson is a successful golfer, every detail of his private and family life is theirs to exploit. He added that recycling previously acknowledged mistakes as new reporting and dragging private family matters into public view amounted to the pursuit of clicks at the expense of the truth. Days later, Ashley Perez posted on her Instagram story, "I will rise up and stand next to the millions of women who have been silenced to protect the evil and darkness that lurks amongst us." She added, "Thank you dearly for all of the love and support. My heart goes out to the countless other victims." And then this week, a photograph. On Tuesday, the 21st of July, reported on the 23rd, Amy Mickelson was photographed at a Trader Joe's grocery store in San Diego with the couple's daughter, Amanda Bryn Mickelson. Her left ring finger was bare as she entered and exited. It was the first time she had been photographed in public since the allegations surfaced. Phil Mickelson was not present. Before departing, she embraced her daughter at length. Outlets drew a contrast with the 2021 Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits, one of the last occasions she was photographed publicly, where she wore a large diamond on that finger. Here is where this story requires discipline. A ring absent during one grocery run is not evidence of anything. People remove rings for a great many ordinary reasons. Neither Phil Mickelson nor Amy Mickelson has commented on it. And only 3 weeks earlier, his spokeswoman had publicly described a 35-year relationship supported with extraordinary grace and unwavering love. Those two data points do not resolve into a conclusion, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. None of this is the first occasion Phil Mickelson has been at the center of something. He was part of a federal insider trading investigation that ultimately sent his friend, the sports gambler Billy Walters, to prison. Phil Mickelson was not charged. Following his release, Billy Walters wrote a book alleging that Phil Mickelson had made more than $1 billion worth of sports bets across his career, and that Billy Walters had to talk him out of betting on the 2012 Ryder Cup in which he was competing. The book also alleged involvement in a previously unknown money laundering investigation. His response at the time, "I never bet on the Ryder Cup. While it is well known that I always enjoy a friendly wager on the course, I would never undermine the integrity of the game. I have also been very open about my gambling addiction. I have previously conveyed my remorse, took responsibility, have gotten help, have been fully committed to therapy that has positively impacted me, and I feel good about where I am now." For the past 5 years, he has occupied the center of professional golf's civil war as architect, recruiter, and frontman for the breakaway league. Weathering the controversy over his own comments about its backers and putting his name to an antitrust lawsuit against the Professional Golfers Association Tour. For most of his prime, affability was his most durable asset. Where Tiger Woods kept the world at a distance, Phil Mickelson pulled the gallery in and became one of the most marketable figures in the sport. That is the asset now under pressure. What is confirmed is narrow. Phil Mickelson is withdrawn again this week. Scott Vincent replaces him again. His camp still cites only the family health matter as the reason. Golf Digest confirmed the club episode is a separate issue from that matter. What is contested is everything else. Every allegation described here is disputed to some degree, and a prominent defamation attorney is publicly engaged on his behalf. What is unknown is the future. Whether Phil Mickelson plays competitively again this year. Whether relegation rules will be applied to him in the same manner as to a player who simply performed poorly. What the state of his marriage is. The explanation has not changed since February. The question is how much longer it holds.